The Twitchiest community has earned themselves a $1,000 bonus giveaway by reaching all of our goals with Guardian Tales. So go ahead and check out the description down below to go get your entries. The more ways you enter, the better your chances to win the $1,000, and keep your eyes out for opportunities in the future to earn more cash giveaways for the Twitchiest community. Everybody, and welcome to your Ymir guide. We're going to be starting off, of course, with our Benevolence Hour Boots one. Pretty standard start your own support. You get your Chalice of Healing, your Hand of the Gods. You probably don't have to go Hand of the Gods on Ymir. You can get away with like grabbing a couple extra potions if you want to, like a couple extra multi-pots for the double sustain. Just because you do have the extra damage with your passive on those autos. So you can get away with not going the hog. Personally, I just like having the hog for the early clear. But you can absolutely get away with those multi-pots. And of course on Ymir, we always grab Blink as our first active for the aggression. That Blink freeze combo is going to get you a whole lot of kills throughout the game. So we're going to be starting off with our 2. This is actually not standardly the ability that we're going to max first, but Ymir also has some weird leveling orders. I'm gonna make sure not to hit this one more time while it has the frostbite on it, because I could accidentally kill this purple buff before my hunter is here to get credit, so I'm gonna wait for it. You're gonna start and you're gonna get a couple of points into the 2, and then you're gonna end up leveling up actually the freeze before you get the 2 all the way to max. Also, if you get the 2 all the way to max, you also have to consider that it will start to clear the wave, and it's going to make it harder for you to get your Thebe stacks actually. Now Fenrir has Sunder as his active, which means I am going to be able to go pretty aggressive onto this Fenrir. So I'm going to call for an attack really quick, and I'm going to go for a little Blink freeze action here. We're going to get the double freeze, force up beads onto the Anhurt, and we're gonna get Fenrir down really low. That is a big win for us, and because I've got the Benevolence early, we're gonna have that MP5 sustain as well. Go get a deep ward out over there so we can stop the enemy from rotating to us. Get a little vision. Now Fenrir just brutalized. We've got to be a little bit careful. Now he's got to jump away. I didn't want to freeze right there and kind of waste the mana when I knew he was gonna jump away. At level 2, we're gonna grab our freeze, and then at level 3, we actually have a couple of options. We can either get our wall at level 3, or we can get a second point into our 2. Just kind of depends on where you are in the game and what you're going against. I'm going against a Fenrir Ymir here, so I'm gonna get a second point in my 2, because I actually don't think my wall is gonna be that useful. So I think it's going to be better off for me to help Medusa clear the wave. Also, because it's Medusa, he doesn't have the best clear either. So getting a little extra pep in my step here for the clear is going to be good for our laning phase, especially because their purple is coming up, and if we clear this next wave pretty fast, we could go take a gander at their purple. Then, of course, we'll get our wall at level 4 and our ulti at level 5. Then you can choose optionally to get a third point in the 2 for a little bit more damage, or you can basically just start ranking up the freeze right on after that and get that extended stun duration on the freeze. So then your level order is going to end up actually being 3, 4, 2, 1. It's kind of a weird level order. But get that freeze all the way maxed out, because Ymir freeze, when you get it all the way capped, is actually going to be all the way up to 2.25 seconds on the freeze. I should have grabbed that purple up there. I'm not gonna lie, I thought my Medusa was gonna go grab it, so I just let it go. But we could have had 2 purple buffs over here, so I should have just picked it up. I should have been paying more attention to it. I just assumed he was gonna pick it up and I would grab the second one, but it was the reverse. Now Anhurt doesn't have his beads up, so I'm gonna go for the Blink freeze right here, and then if he jumps away, now I've got a little bit of a wall to work with, and so he's gonna be stuck between that wall and his own pillar. He's got absolutely nowhere to go. And now that we've grabbed that quick kill, we're gonna back up, get ourselves our reinforced shoes and a couple of wards. So with Ymir, your wall is your best ability. I know we're not leveling it first, but it's because we don't actually need the extra time for it to be a useful ability. Even just the 2 seconds is fan-freaking-tastic. Ymir wall is arguably the best ability in the game with these tiny, itty-bitty, skinny boy jungles. You can wall off pretty much anything in the jungle with a proper Ymir wall and stop any rotations at all. These walls can also be placed without necessarily being able to align it perfectly. So I can just throw down a little wall right here, and it was over the walls in front of me. That is actually a change that happened recently. Comparatively to Ymir's lifeline, you can just throw out the wall over a wall to try to block stuff. Also, if you press the ability again, it is going to destroy the wall. So if you press that wall again, you press your one, boom, it's gonna take down the wall. Taking down the wall is good for 2 reasons. One, you screwed up the wall and you accidentally blocked in your team, or you didn't block off the enemy, whatever. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody's gonna miss walls. It happens. Luckily, you don't get super punished for it anymore like you used to back in the day. Now I gotta be a little bit careful here. I'm gonna go see if we can't force a little ESA beats. Ymir is gonna jump on me. I thought he was gonna go for the ulti, so I'm gonna have to use my own ultimate for the CC immunity. Overall, a win right there for us though. Beads and a Fenrir ulti currently down. The other time we're gonna want to bring down our wall is in order to get the cooldown going again after we have already used it to kill somebody. So maybe we wall somebody off, we get the kill. I'm gonna go in for a blink freeze right here. Your Rob's gonna be able to follow up. Boom, instantly gonna grab that kill. So right there, I know that E set speeds are down, obviously, because we just forced them. So I call for the gank, so my Ra is going to be aware of my game plan. And then it's just a real easy follow-up. Even without voice comms, I could still communicate with him that I was going in for that kill, so he could be ready to just land the snipe, and then it's easy peasy lemon squeezy. Now for my second item on Ymir, I almost always grab this, and that is going to be a wing blade. Wing blade is almost always my second item on Ymir. Having that bonus movement speed is just so good. Without it, slows will just start to absolutely wreck you. I'm gonna kind of walk towards this Issa right here. Fenrir is around, my ulti is back up, which means that his ulti is probably back up. I'm gonna go for this Bastet, walking around this corner, hit him with a little freeze, call it for the gank. That's gonna be a very low Bastet. I actually feel comfortable enough to keep going on this, see if I can try to block off some folks right here. Slow down Issa a little bit, see if I can't throw down a little wall so he can't escape out this way. So he's gotta run right back into my team. Beads should still be down, which now we can just follow up with a little wombo combo. Nothing to see here. So the reason why we rank up, of course, that freeze first, you guys have been seeing, because that's a long time to be stunned. Even if you have DR on you, which is diminishing returns, you're still going to be CC'd for a long time. Reminder that diminishing returns is going to be 33% off of the CC duration that you take, and if you get a second stack of it, that's going to be 66% less CC duration. So you have to keep that in mind, of course, for your freezes. If you're going to be getting a bunch of CC in your team, you might be adding a lot of DR to the enemy team. So if you don't rank up that freeze first, you know, a 2.25 second stun could still very well be a 1 second stun, but a 1 second stun can be all the way down to like half a second. And that's a big difference in like following up with a raw ult or something. Especially if you don't have crazy communication going on. So now that I've got my wing blade going, I can actually be even more aggressive on Ymir. It's gonna stop, you know, an E-set slow an her pillar from just really ruining my day and stop me from being able to be aggressive. You want to be very aggressive on Ymir. Against a Fenrir as well. You've got to be a little bit careful though, because that ultimate pulling you into tower is very liable to kill you. There's even an argument to be made for going beads in that case against a Fenrir, just to not give him that target. But we've been playing so far not too shabby with just the Ymir ultimate for the counter CC immunity. So when do we pick Ymir? The best time to pick Ymir here is all the time. Ymir, widely considered to be one of the best supports in the game right now. He has extremely good early game clear. That extremely good early game clear means, of course, you can pair him with anybody in duo. You can pair him immediately with an her and just go for full-blown aggressive lane. You can pair him with a Hu Yi and abuse the wall, bring up with the Hu Yi bounty. You give him those free ricochets. You can pair him with a late game hunter like a Rama who just wants to AFK and farm and build up crit for the late game, because you can help with the clear in the early game. So he really pairs with anybody. Doesn't matter what your actual ADC is, because regardless, you have the clear, you have the CC. Now Bastet jumped it down, so I'm gonna follow with a little freeze right here. I'm also gonna pop my ultimate. Gonna kind of watch and make sure I pop it a little bit early right here so we can get the damage off. Looks like Iset's gonna try to beat out of this one, but we should be able to follow up with the damage there as well. And now we can come back and also take their speed. Just gotta throw down a little wall over there in case somebody was gonna try to come around that corner and secure it. So you're really looking more at the enemy team when you're picking Ymir, right? Because he's gonna be able to set up a team. He's gonna pair well with the Ra. He's gonna pair with any ADCs. That doesn't matter. So we're looking at the enemy team. Specifically, we're looking for two things. One, what movement ability the enemy team is utilizing. If they are using a lot of dashes, a lot of increased movement speeds, and not a lot of leaps, oh, they are gonna have a bad time, because they're gonna get walled off in the jungle, and they're gonna feel every last inch of the Ymir kit. If they do have leaps, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. Here's how you play against a god with a leap on Ymir. When you're playing against a god with a dash, right, what do? You instantly throw up the wall because it blocks them. You don't even have to worry about it. You turn off your brain, you just throw it down. When you're playing against a god that has a leap, like an Anher's not a bad god against Ymir at all. He's got CC immunity built into his kit for the freeze if he does it fast enough. So what do we do against an Anher? We wait for Anher to use his jump, and then we follow up with the wall, just like that. So we don't wall first against a god with a leap. We wait for them to use their leap, and then we wall them off, because now it's like they're a god that has a dash or just a movement ability. That's how we deal with gods with leaps. We hold the wall until after they've already used that leap. And that also goes for abilities like Merlin Flicker. Merlin Flicker, really short range. It can get over your wall, but if you basically never wall, then Merlin can basically never flicker, and he just kind of sits there the entire time and goes, please don't flicker me. So I'm gonna get a beast here as my second active. Against this team, they've got a lot of CC, and the Fenrir is gonna start trying to pick me up even more as we get into later stages of the game, bring me out of position, and of course you don't want to be feeding your brains out as a support. As our third item, we're gonna grab Thebes. I find that as a support, if you do not grab Thebes, you just don't get tanky enough fast enough. Normally, I'd recommend it kind of as that second item, but on Ymir, you've got to make sure you get that weak blade. So Fenrir might try to ulti my Wukong or something. That's okay. It looks like he's just gonna kind of let him go. I was prepared right there to use the Ymir wall to block off the Wukong from getting pulled into tower range. Great way to use Ymir wall, not only aggressively but defensively, stopping a Baron suck from getting completed, stopping a Fenrir from bringing somebody into tower range. Great utilization of Ymir wall in a defensive manner. I'm going to call for the attack with the Gold Fury. We've got raw heals. We've got the raw secure. We should be able to walk over here. Medusa is doing her purple. Doesn't look like anybody's actually going to follow up with me, though, so there's not... I'm going to call for it again. Attack the Gold Fury. Me and Medusa can actually probably just do it by ourselves. So it's not that big of a deal. As far as Ymir in terms of his power spikes, Ymir is definitely the best early, which is not to say he's not great late game. He is great all game. He's definitely a top 3, top 4 support. But early game is where Ymir gets a lot of pressure in the lane. And so you can start snowballing really, really early on Ymir. And then he also thrives in the kind of ganking stage of the game. His team fights are good, but I would not say that Ymir is the strongest team fighter in the game. Generically, he's got good CC and stuff, so he is good in team fights, but he really thrives in the stages of the game like this, where you're going for 2v2s, where you're going for these quick engagements, where he gets to set up and just quick follow up and boom, somebody instantly dies. That's really where Ymir thrives. That early game through that kind of ganking portion. Now I'm going to go for the blink freeze here onto the Anner. Once again, I'm not going to use my wall until after he uses his jump. Now that he uses his jump, we can turn around and get ourselves that easy kill. Every single time, you've got to get in the habit of it on Ymir. No walling until they've jumped if they have a leap. You got to wait for it. If that's a Rama, you wall instantly because who cares? He's gonna dash right into the wall. Doesn't matter. But you wait on the leaps. Now for my next item, I do have a couple of options. I can go to get more tanky this game. So if we look at their composition, they're rocking 1, 2, 3, 4 physicals this game. I actually probably should have looked at that a little bit earlier. 4 physicals, 1 magical. That means I absolutely 100%, doesn't matter what god I'm on, get a sovereignty. If a team is running either 4 physicals or 4 magicals, you're gonna grab the aura item. So 4 physicals, obviously you grab sovereignty. 4 magicals, obviously you're gonna grab the heart word. You're gonna do that no matter what if they're running 4 of a kind of a damage. Now, you can also, on some characters, not on really Ymir, on some characters you can even rush the Sov. But on Ymir, I think you need the Wingblade so bad, and once you get the Wingblade online, then you're already getting Thebes 4th, and if you're getting Thebes 4th item, or later than 4th item, now that's really, really late to get those stacks going. So this is actually the perfect time on Ymir to grab that sovereignty, compared to if you're playing like a Fafnir, you might even be able to get that sovereignty right after your boots, and then your Thebes. Because you don't need the Wingblade, because like Fafnir is safer because he has the leap and stuff. Also, kind of universally now moving forward with the guides, obviously in the mid-season patch, boots are no longer going to exist. The good news is that there's really not that many meta shifts in terms of like items that are going to be good going into mid-season, which means all of the builds, all of the previous guides are still viable. And for all of the builds moving forward that come out before the mid-season patch, which is going to be most of them, basically in the builds, all you're going to do is skip the boots and kind of just continue onward with the build. So there's kind of 2 things that we're going to see moving into the next season. With the removal of boots, you're going to see a prominence of these 2 things. One, you're gonna see a prominence of obviously skipping boots and getting right into your build. So in this build, just growing right into the Wingblade could be a fantastic idea. Nothing wrong with that. The other thing that you might see a rise in is generically cheap early game items. So because boots are so cheap, right? They're like 15, 1600 gold. You get that full item just online so fast. It is not an unreasonable expectation that there will be a meta developed where the very first item that you build is something a little bit cheaper think Stone of Binding, Winged Blade, Relic Dagger, just something that gives you good stat efficacy for a very cheap price. Now, none of this is guaranteed because there's no metas on the new, season. Nothing is ever determined on PTS like that. But just keep in mind, that might be where the builds go. You're still going to be getting sovereignties in your thieves, in your wing, I'm saying? All the build, you're still going to be getting mostly compassion as your starter item upgrade, all that good stuff. There might just be one little kind of like early game transition item thrown into the build for a lot of supports. I do think it's going to end up being Stone of Binding or Wing Blade or Relic Dagger. I think you're just going to see a whole lot of those 3 items coming out very quick because of all the amazing stats they give for their cheap, like 1,800 gold or less price. Back to Ymir specifically now. Now we've gotten a little bit of off topic on the Ymir guide. Our standard combo on Ymir, real easy, real straightforward. If we have our blink up, it's just blink freeze, freezing as many people as we can, forcing out as many beads as we can. Typically following up immediately with our wall, so that way even if they beat, they're gonna be stuck on the wall. Of course, the exception being, if they all have leaps, then we save that wall for after they leap, as we talked about earlier. If we don't have our blink up, then a lot of the times we're just gonna be throwing out our wall willy-nilly, trying to block people off, even if they do have leaps. Because if it ends up being down, or maybe they panic, we start to force some of their movement abilities anyway, we start to force some actives, people do panic just seeing the Ymir wall come out. And it can open up some opportunities for your team. So our big initiation is going to be off that blink, freeze, follow up with the wall and the 2. Sometimes you just wall though, and he does get a little bit of damage, and you force them to use a movement ability. Like now his Brutalizer's down, and he walks into the Wukong. So we're going to get some good pressure off of that. ESET's probably going to go down here. I'm going to blink in and go for the slow. Fenrir grabs me. I'm not even going to use my beads here because I actually do think I can tank this tower between my sovereignty. I'm going to wall off this Mulan right here. Unfortunately, I walled off my Wukong, so I'm going to go stand in front of Wukong as much as I can. Not going to be able to help him get out of there. Might have actually hurt him a little bit. Now I'm going to pop my beads because I'm rooted by this Bastet and they're going aggressive, but I am going to try to turn around right here onto the Mulan and see if he can't be trapped. He has to blink out of that one. We've got Onis in the left and right side. I'm a little bit low on HP, although I do have some nice HP 5 going. You can actually see I've got 100 HP 5 right now, which, believe it or not, is a lot of HP 5. Gonna just start walling off Anhur, keep him away from us. We grab ourselves a free Phoenix. I'm also gonna call for the attack middle lane. We've got ourselves some Oni creep still. We got the raw heal. They are gonna mostly deal with it. Now Mulan just used a lot to come in on me right there, so we might be able to grab that free kill. Gonna try to just wall some people away from my Medusa. Now I'm gonna get rid of the wall so I start getting that CGR back up even earlier. Gonna walk up and just try to run right at this Bastet, see if we can't scare him off. Now I don't even have that much mana for an abilities, but just the threat that I could freeze them is gonna make them back all the way up. I'm gonna call for the Fire Giant. They've got 2 people dead. We should run straight to fire. Between the raw heal and our lead, we should be able to go take it out. Reminder that while Ymir is a fantastic initiator, he's also a really, really good peeler. Peeling is going to be a lot easier with your freeze and your wall, but if you play enough Ymir, you'll start getting really good at placing it. And if you're somebody like your hunters being attacked by a melee character, you can oftentimes put the wall right in between them and put that little bit of room between your hunter, between your mage, and, the assassin killing them in the back line. It's definitely one of the harder things to do with Ymir, but being able to use the wall in that manner is so crazy strong. Now we're gonna rank up our beads, our blink, and I'm gonna get myself a relic dagger. This relic dagger is a little bit more movement speed. I don't really actually care for most of the stats. Like, yeah, they're nice, cool, a little bit of CDR, fantastic, all good things. We're really here for the passive. Minus 40 seconds off a blink just means more blink initiations. More blink initiations means more bead forcing. More bead forcing means more god killing. More god killing means more game winning. So now we got the fire giant. We've already got 2 phoenixes down. We're heading right over to the left lane to put this one away. Quick note about Ymir. This is not applicable when you're attacking phoenixes. But when you're defending phoenixes, sometimes the best thing you can do for a defense is legit throw down the wall right in front of the phoenix. So that way they have to go all the way around the wall in order to attack the phoenix. Now I'm gonna stop my creeps here just a little bit, buy some time for my boys to get here from the jungle. And now we can head into the back line. Just gonna go for a blink freeze right on the Ymir. He's actually gonna have a really nice impale right there. He just jumped away, so I'm gonna go for the wall. Not quite gonna be able to reach him. We've got creeps coming into the Titan room. I know the Mulan ultimate is down. There is the best beat. I'm gonna walk right on in here. Fenrir looks like he's trying to pick somebody up. I'm gonna go for the wall just to make sure that he can't bring him into the fountain. I'm taking the Titan right now. Doesn't matter. I am way too tanky. I've got compassion procking on so many different people. And we're gonna be able to put this one right on away. So with Ymir, you've got to be confident to kind of W key at the enemy. And with Ymir, even if your freeze isn't up, just walking at somebody can force them to use so much. His presence, the fact that he could wall you, the fact that he could freeze you, all the things that he might be able to do can provide a lot of fear into the enemy team. If you've ever played a squishy role, you know just how much a Ymir kind of walking right at your face is one of the worst things you can imagine, especially in the jungle. So try to take those jungle fights as much as you can, because the wall will completely block off basically every single section in the jungle on the Season A map, guys. And that is your support Ymir guide. Thank you for supporting the Twitchiest community. If you'd like to see more videos, make sure you subscribe to the channel and always hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss any of the upcoming videos. Thank you for all your support and have a twitching day, y'all.